get too crazy. All right, join me in a word of prayer, please. Our dear Lord, Heavenly Father, I thank you for this wonderful day that all these people could be gathered together here in your home, Lord, your house. Lord, I ask as I speak these words today that, Lord, your message would come through and speak in a special way to the minds and the hearts of each and every person here, Lord, that you might reveal yourself in a special way, that we might devote our lives completely to you. And Lord, as we continue on with this series, looking for this breathing room, I pray, Lord, that we are able to find you in the space between. In Jesus' name we ask all of these things. Amen.
Amen.
It gets going just a little bit, right? Is it just me?
No,
okay.
no,
Yeah.
it's everybody.
Yeah, I get a little stressed out every time I look at that, but aside from that. So, breathing room, that nice, deep breath, relaxing time, where we can put things down and we can just, right? It's nice, isn't it? And, normally, I think about this and it's, you stop and think, and it's not really that important to us, right? Until we realize that we don't have any. That's when it becomes really important, that breathing room. And how many of you have almost ever drowned before? Right? Okay, yeah, it's an awful thing. I've almost drowned 3 times in my life that I can remember. Yeah, but when you're drowning, you're just suffocated, right? Everything's tight, and you start panicking. It's like, I need air. I have to breathe. And a lot of times, what happens to us is that as we're going throughout this life and dealing with our day-to-day challenges, we get to that point of suffocation. Okay, those of you who don't know me very well, I'm a college student. All right, this is my 3rd year, and I'm slowly learning the ways of the world. And it's different out there in big people world, real people world. I don't think I like it yet, but I'll get used to it, I'm sure. But what we're going to talk about tonight, and this is completely relevant for me because I'm in college. We're talking about money. Okay, we're talking about money tonight, and dollars and cents. Okay, cents up here. Dollars and cents. And some of you, I know that I got a little bit of looks like, David, why are we talking about money today? Okay, because money happens to be one of those things in life, okay, that can cause you all kinds of grief, all right? Now, like I said, I'm in college, and, a lot of you who are older than I and have been doing real people jobs and living in real people homes and eating real people food and paying real people expenses, I more power to you, but but I'll get there someday. But, we experience this crunch time. You have to pay for this. Like for me, I have to pay tuition. I have to be able to make sure I can keep going to school. And what we want to focus on tonight, okay, is the space between. Okay, the space between and this breathing room. And breathing room is the space between our current pace and our limits. All right. okay, our current pace and our limits. And, some of us, when we're feeling that suffocation, right, when we get to that point where sometimes the first impulse, right, is the mama bear. The mama bear comes out, and the first impulse when we get afraid of something is the reaction to fight, right? You spent what on what? You did what with your money, right? Now I've been moving along in my education, and I just got an opportunity with the company up north, and so I'll be starting that in January. But what I'm experiencing is like, oh man, I need to make real people steps. I have to think about getting vehicles and stuff now. Okay, so I've been going through a lot of this week. Yeah, a lot of the stuff I'm talking about I went through this week. This initial fear, this reaction to fight. Okay, where am I going to spend my money? And sometimes, you get to the flight where, if you've ever seen a squirrel on the road, right, what does it do? It's like, oh, do I go this way? Do I go that way? And you're just, I don't want to run over you, but, and then some of us get to this freezing point. Now, if you live in Wisconsin, you one time in your life, I guarantee you're going to see one of these in the night. And then as the more you go down the road, everything looks like a deer from there on out. Everything looks like a deer, okay? But the deer, this freeze in front of you, and some of us, we see this one way too often. Well, maybe if I just don't look at it, it'll go away. This is just a phase. This is just a phase, and it'll pass. All I just have to do is just stay still, right? That's one of the more comforting sometimes. And then there's secret option E. Secret option E. Secret option E is the get out one. The one my generation calls the YOLO option. And, shop. We're talking about money, right? We're talking about money. Okay, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to be doing this for a long time, so let's just go do whatever, right? Let's just do whatever, and let's feel better about ourselves, right? But the important thing here that I'm trying to communicate is that God wants us to live a life full of breathing room, okay? And God has He has just a ton to say about this in His Word. And there are if in the Bible alone, okay, there are more than 2,000 verses that teach about money and finances. And let me just give you a few of them in my list. Budgeting, all right, contentment, debt, giving, greed, honesty, idolatry, riches, saving and investing, taxes and tribute, the poor, the work. And, all of these things, Jesus talked about because they were important. And, how important is it in our society, right? You have to make a living. You have to eat. You have to have a roof over your head, okay? These are the things that we need. So there's this ideal out there. There's an ideal out there, and it's called the standard of living. How many of you have heard this before, right? The standard of living. Okay, so the standard of living, before I start talking about that, let me tell you a little bit about my week. So I've been really trying to find a car. And I've been going around, I've been looking at, okay, here's how much money I have right now. This is how much I can probably spend on a car. Let's see if I can find a happy medium. That's where I want to be. And in the middle of my week, I was just like, well, it'd be kind of nice to have something a little on the higher end side if I could, and this is my first car. Right? I don't need to be driving around, a BMW or something like that. But, all of us, now that I think about it, all of us, we get to that point where it's just like, what if I could, wherever I'm at, what if I could have this? Right? What if I could have something just a little bit better? Have you guys seen those Tesla cars? I'm just going to geek out for a second. Yeah, those Tesla cars, just 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. That's awesome. Someday, I might even have something better, but we'll see. Anyway, but you remember the time, okay? You remember those times, back in the day, they say, when if you had more than one TV, that actually meant something, right? But now you look at here, now in this time period, okay, it's common. It's very common that, people have more than one TV in their house. And, we think if we have more or just a little bit more, we'll be okay, right? Now, there's a big difference, okay? There's a big difference between the standard of living and the quality of life, okay? The quality of life. This is the important one. The quality of life are those moments that you realize you've got a gift. You've got a gift on your hands. This is what gives you that breath that you need. I mean, have you ever just walked outside, from wherever you're and you just got wowed in the face by nature? I mean, you just look outside and then the sunset was like, oh, right? I mean, I long for those days. I just think that they're amazing. They're amazing. And, what's interesting is that some of us, you chase that standard of life. We have to realize that, we have limits. We do have limits, okay? We have limits on some of the things in our lives, like time, okay? Everyone has the same 24 hours, but it's what you do with those 24 hours, right? And then you go back to money, you realize that money is one of those things that can stretch, okay? It's not like time. It's not like time. Money can stretch, and, we commonly refer to that as debt. And the standard of living, okay, the standard of living that you want, okay, that can be bought, right? That can be bought. But the quality of life that you live, okay, that is something that you can't put a monetary value on. Okay, I mean, I think about, these are the wrong slides. Okay, I can work with that. That's fine. You think about these countries that, are very different from this one. Okay, and if any of you have ever been outside the United States before, a lot of times you find, people, they certainly don't meet our standards of living by any means of the imagination. But yet, these same people have something in their quality of life. And then you look at that and you say, wow, that'd be kind of nice to have. Why can't I have that? How do I get what they have? Why are they so happy, with not meeting up to our standards? And creating that breathing room, okay? Creating that breathing room isn't easy. And sometimes you need to lower your standard of living to raise that quality of life. And that joy and that peace, okay, from that quality of life that you get surely outshines any monetary value. And something that's very noticeable is that people, they try to say, okay, I'll give it a try, I'll lower my standard of living, see if my quality of life will also go up. What they don't realize is that the standard of living and the quality of life, as one goes up, the other one must come down. They cannot move together. They cannot move together. All right, you think about that, if you've seen those Libra scales, where if you put, gold on one and the one goes up, right? That's the way you have to think about it. So the point that I'm trying to make here is, okay, is that you have to get to the point where you're saying, okay, I'm going to be disciplined about the quality of my life rather than the standard of living, okay? But then you say, oh, but David, I mean, I just want to have some. I just want to have some of these things, and, maybe a couple of those, and maybe a little bit of these, right? But, like I said, it's a scale. One must come up, one goes down, right? And so we're focusing on these buffers. Focusing on these buffers, all right? And buffer number one, okay? Focus on the quality of living, not the standard of living. That's my first point today. I want to focus on the quality. Quality, these people say quality over quantity, right? You've heard that before? Okay, the quality of life. And have you ever, here's something important to consider with your finances. If you look at this, it says, what percent of your income are you living on? What percent of your income are you living on? And I think, this applies very much so to people of my generation because, college students like me, we blindly go in and we spend, and we don't really think about what we're spending it on until it comes time to, pay the bill. And that's not so different from the reality of things, is that sometimes, we're so caught up in what we're doing, and that we don't realize, oh, wow, I've actually spent, $400 more than I did last month, you know? And we fall into that mantra, man, if only I just had a little bit more. If only I just had just a tiny bit more. Okay, take a look at this, okay? This is a graphical representation of what I'm about to tell you, okay? So you've got the scale here, money on one axis and time on the other, okay? And here's your steady income. Okay, so you've got this thing called income, and hopefully, you're making more than you were when you were 16. But most of us, we have expenses that keep going up. Okay, keep going up. But notice here, notice in this example, okay, this individual is spending, less than what they're making, okay, and then there's that buffer zone in between. Okay, this person, they have some breathing room. They have some breathing room. Now, you look at this one, okay, this is the one that actually tends to fall more in my generation. But here we have income and expenses, walking right alongside each other. Okay, so then what do you have left? What room do you have to breathe when, the car breaks down, or when you break your leg, or you need to pay for something, where's your breathing room? Oh, if only I just had a little bit more, right? If only I just had a little bit more, I could have masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. You cannot serve two masters. That's something that we all have to come to accept. I mean, have you ever tried to take a job, and then, you have one boss that wants you to do it this way, and then another boss that wants you to do it the other way, and then the other boss gets mad at you because you did it the other boss's way? Yeah, my experience. You cannot serve two masters. And so you're saying, okay, I can't do 100%. I can't be serving two masters. So David, tell me, what is the magic number? Okay, what percent should I be at? How much is enough? And for that, I will simply just point you to a verse. I will simply point you to a verse in Hebrews, and it's not on this one. A verse in Hebrews, and I can actually pull it up for myself here and read it to you. Hebrews 13, verse 5. Hebrews 13, verse 5. And if you want to write this one down so you remember it, Hebrews 13, verse 5. When you have a minute this week, take a look at this verse and remind yourself that it's okay to breathe. That it is okay to breathe. This is what it says here. It says, let your character be free from the love of money, being content with what you have, for he himself has said, I will never desert you, nor I will ever forsake you, so that we confidently say, the Lord is my helper, I will not be afraid. I will not be afraid. So
Hebrews 13:3?
Hebrews 13:5.
5.
Hebrews 13:5. Okay, so you're in your mantra, right? Oh, if I just had us a little bit more, right? Okay, now stop. Now this verse is going to pop into your head because you're saying that, oh, but I never have enough money. If only I had it just a little more. What did I just read to you? Let me go ahead and do it again. Let your character be free from the love of money, doing what? Content. Be content. Be content with what you have. For he himself has says, I will never desert you, nor will I forsake you. So we confidently say, the Lord is my helper. I will not be afraid. Put your faith in God, that God will do the rest. The shortcoming that you have, if you don't have enough money to pay for whatever, don't spend all of your time freaking out. Okay, it's not going to do you any good. All it's going to do is increase your stress levels, right? You'll go into that fight, flight, freeze that we talked about earlier, right? Put into the hands of God what God's hands are capable of handling. And I say that because this week I experienced some of that. And, I mentioned the car before. And I don't have that much money to spend on a vehicle. The amount of money I had to spend on a vehicle was less than what most dealers would give me and what most people who are selling used vehicles could really accept. And this last week I was in my search, and I randomly decided I was going to message an old friend of mine, and I started talking to the mom. And I was telling her about, what was going on in my life and everything, and then I told her how I was in search of a vehicle. And she says, "Oh, well, Grandma's getting rid of her vehicle." And I said, "Oh, well, that's nice. What kind is it?" And so we got talking, and then I went over and I talked to her, and I said, "You're asking for a lot of money, but I simply just don't have that much." And she said, "David, it's not a problem. It's not a problem. We can work it out. Tell me how much money you have." And she took all I had. She took all I had and gave me the car.
Wow.
What a blessing.
That's nice.
Amen.
Good deal.
I mean, you want to talk about faith in action. That's more than what I could have expected. That is far more than what I could have expected. Be content with what you have, for he himself said, "I will never desert you, nor will I ever forsake you." And we can confidently say, "The Lord is my helper. I will not be afraid." And these are the kinds of experiences that you only hear about, and then when it actually happens to you, you're like, "Oh my God, it's real," right? Right? And chances are, if you feel like you're stuck, right now, chances are that you're serving the wrong master. If you feel like you're stuck, chances are you're serving the wrong master. Put into God's hands what God's hands are capable of handling. Don't keep trying to do it on your own if you know you can't get anywhere. Put into God's hands what God's hands are capable of handling. Serve only one master. Serve only one master. I just want to read you one more promise found in Proverbs. And it's in Proverbs 16, verse 3. It says here, "Commit your works to the Lord, and your plans will be established." Commit your works to the Lord, and your plans will be established. Be content with what you have. And some of you, I realize that you're here, and you're no doubt very discouraged by either your financial situation or family situation. And, this really isn't an easy message for me to deliver. It's not an easy message to hear either. But what I want you to know is that there is indeed some hope. There is indeed some hope. That which is impossible from the human perspective is more than possible with God. And maybe right now, this week, or for the first time, you need to do something different. You need to maybe bow your head and say to God, "God, I've been trying to do this by myself for so long, but I've now realized that I can't. I am turning it over to you. I am turning over this part of my life to you. I'm turning this part of my life over to you. And God, I'm willing to do whatever you and your godly counsel will tell me to do to get out of this, to get through this. I need your direction." If there's some of you here that want to pray that prayer, please come talk to me afterwards. I'd be more than happy to do that with you. But I just want to close here in prayer with the thoughts that if there is any doubt resting within your heart that the situation that you're in is too big for God, I'm living proof that it's not. I'm living proof that it's not. Pray with me, please. Our dear Lord and Heavenly Father, Lord, I thank you so much for everything that you have done for each and every one of our lives. Lord, we thank you that you continue to provide for us each and every day, Lord. And despite our shortcomings, Lord, you encourage us. You build us up. And Lord, you remind us that you are the everlasting God. Dear Lord, I pray
at this time. Lord, if there is anybody here who is struggling, anybody here who is struggling with their finances or with their family, with their friendships, or even within their own heart with negative feelings of depression or loneliness and not being good enough, Lord, all of these things, they are distractions. Lord, let us choose at this time to serve only one master, and let that master be you. Lord, I ask that your love would speak directly into the hearts and the minds of each and every person here, Lord. That when things are overwhelming, or when we don't know which direction to go, Lord, that we will only look to you. Lord, we know that where man will fail, Lord, that you will pick up the slack. Lord, wherever we can get on our own, you will do the rest. I pray, Lord, that we will entrust that to you. We will entrust that to you. And Lord, as we go throughout this week, I ask that you would bless each and every person here that was able to make it, and bless each and every person that could not be here today, Lord. And I pray that you would carry us in the days to come, and that we might lead people closer to a relationship with you. In Jesus' name we ask all these things. Amen.
Amen.